Hi, my name is Sheila. I'm so grateful that you're here. If this is your first time on my channel, please click subscribe and hit notifications so you never miss an episode, and we upload every Monday. If you've been here before, I'm so grateful that you've come back again. As always, please drop a comment in the comment section below concerning this video and what we're sending your way. It's always wonderful to hear from you, and I'm just so grateful for your support, your encouragement, and for your love. You know, this hasn't been an easy year. It has taught us all so many things that maybe we knew, things we'd forgotten, maybe things we had absolutely no clue about. This has been a year of learning. And on my channel, that's what we seek to do, to share with you impactful stories from Kenyans living the authentic Kenyan experience. Life is about living and loving and growing. And it is my hope that from every episode, you found something to connect to, something that lets you look at life differently, something that lets you love your life differently, but more importantly, something that helps you grow. Because if you're not growing, then you're dying. And while we're still here in the land of the living, let's grow. Let's be everything that we possibly can. Let's learn from each other. And that's what these stories are all about. Living, loving, and growing. Now, this year, without doubt, has been incredibly hard. It's been tough on even the toughest of us. There's nobody who's going to walk around and say this has been the easiest year of my life. I dare you to tell me that it was the easiest year of your life. And over the past couple of weeks, we've been sharing with you stories concerning COVID, concerning staying safe, concerning mental health, keeping yourself going even when things look like they're not quite going the way that they should. We've always got to remember there's hope. There's encouragement. There's a reason, there's a purpose for everything. We've just got to keep moving forward. And back in March of this year, we recorded episodes for season 8 for my YouTube channel, the one that you're watching right now. And we started sharing episodes from that over the past couple of weeks. I think we've shared about 3 conversations so far, and we're very grateful to Sai Suites Apartment Hotel for giving us the location to record, and Nobri Kenya for the wardrobe. I have absolutely loved wearing the outfits and just showing you what kind of variety that they've got in store. Over the next couple of weeks, we still continue to share with you conversations from Sai Suites Apartment Hotel. Those are episodes from season 8. So if you're watching and thinking, where are the masks? Now you know, these were all recorded before the pandemic touched down and we had to adhere to a new normal. But speaking of new normal, I want to give you a heads up on one of the episodes that's coming up. We all know that across the globe, the coronavirus affected especially the elderly generation. And for countries all across the world, the question remains, are we doing our very best when it comes to caring for the elderly in our society? Are we responsible? Are we taking the right measures in terms of quality of life, purpose of life, and making sure that the elderly are still part and parcel of everyday conversations? There's a wonderful conversation I don't want you to miss out on. It's coming up in the next few weeks. So yes, stay tuned and click subscribe. I've given you enough reason to subscribe, so please do, and watch out for that. So then we can map our way forward, because there's one thing I know, somebody's going to be aging sometime soon, and you better be knowing and you better be sure what kind of society you're going to be aging in. Is it going to be a positive, uplifting society, or is it going to be one that's difficult and challenging and could do better? I do believe we can all do better. But as September winds up, I think September has probably been a very difficult month. It has been a month that has made all of us reflect, especially those who are parents. The biggest conversations in the land have revolved around, should children go to school? Should we all go back to life as normal, leave the curfew behind? I know last week a lot of Kenyans were ready to hear from the president and were hoping that he would say the 9 p.m. curfew is off the table, but that didn't happen. So we're waiting for word again this week. We don't know what's going to be said, but we're just going to be patient and hear and deal with the new instructions as and when they unfold. And when I think about the conversation on schools reopening, the first people I'm thinking about are Form 4 candidates, because this term is usually associated with the final examination, and then after that they get to know who's going to campus or other forms of tertiary education. And I've just really felt sorry for Form 4 candidates, because there's been talk of pushing the exams up until April of next year. Then again, here we are in September having conversations of no, the schools are going to reopen, and yes, they're going to go and sit for their exams, and yes, and yes, and yes, and no, and no, and no. The state of confusion is it's really just not quite healthy, especially for a candidate. Can you imagine how that feels? I think back to when I was in high school and counting down the days to leave boarding school. But times have changed, and I met a gentleman who really helped me look at things differently, and I'm hoping that a lot of those candidates this year have had quality time to interact with not just their family members, but especially their parents. This gentleman is going hiking. I think they're going to climb Mount Kenya, and he's going with his teenage son, who was meant to sit for exams this year. And he said to me, once the curfew was in place, once Corona touched down, once schools were closed, he understood that he had to find an activity that would allow him quality time with his son, that would allow him to engage with his son and hear him. And hiking is a beautiful thing. It's very physical, it takes you to the outdoors, and you get to connect with whoever you're hiking with. And he said it was the best form of therapy for his son, because his son could work out his frustration, talk about his frustration, and they could do something together as a father and a son. And he could be able to encourage his son to hang in there. So whether the exams touch down this year, whether they touch down next year, he is so confident of his son's inner being. And I thought that was really impressive. Being a parent is not easy, but parents this year have really gone that extra mile to be there for their children. I'm really grateful and thankful, and more power to parents who've done that. And I guess I understand that there's some parents who've not had the luxury of being able to have that kind of time. Maybe you lost your job, maybe you had to leave the city, and the circumstances are different, and a difficult situation was made even worse. But you know what? There's always hope. I don't give up quickly on life and situations. I always believe there's always hope. And it's for all of us as a society, not just as parents, but also uncles and aunts, to step in. Because sometimes there are people who are not going to willingly ask for help. So step in and say, where are my nieces? Where are my nephews? Can I spend time with them? Can I talk to them? This is where we pull collectively. This is where we all win collectively. Because if one person makes it to shore and everybody else doesn't, what kind of life is that one person on shore going to have? Not a very good quality life, you know? So let's just step in where we can. Let's do our best where we can. Moving forward to something else that caught my attention in the month of September, and that was the lady who sadly went into labor, and she was locked out of Pumwani hospital, and it took so much for her to finally be let in, but she was lying on the ground outside the gate of a hospital that is supposed to help mothers deliver children safely. Now that was painful to watch. That was hard to bear. Now, I was born in Pumwani hospital. Yes, I was. Yes, I was. And you'd be surprised how many other people in Kenya today were born in Pumwani hospital. And a couple of years ago, I worked for a radio station, and we had a CSR campaign. It was a campaign that was across the group, and everybody in different departments, you could select a charity and then rally behind it and fundraise for it. And as a department, the radio department, we raised the most amount of money in that year, and the money that we raised was pulled together, and we helped mothers who were in Pumwani to get a few, bits and pieces, and to also clear their bills from the hospital. It really was one of my proudest moments, because I got a commendation for heading a really great CSR project that impacted the society and also pulled in other corporate sponsors to work together with the radio station and do something great for mothers who needed the assistance. I think that is one of my biggest, proudest achievements. But I thought to myself, that was maybe 6 years ago or 7 years ago. But the problems at Pumwani still persist. How do we help this hospital? What do we do as a citizenry? And there are many questions and there are many moving parts when it comes to what went wrong there and what we can all do. But surely, how many times do we walk around this mountain? Pumwani is an institution. Pumwani has made all the wrong headlines. Many babies have been born there and are living great lives and are doing wonderful things and want to reach back and help. But surely, what kind of lasting solutions can we come up with? That's food for thought. It's one of the things I think about constantly. I'm just praying that we don't see images like that ever again, because that's just traumatizing. And I just couldn't help but think about that little baby, your first day, your first experience of this beautiful thing called life. God, surely. Yeah, that was hard. So, and there you go. I know it's been a bit of a long monologue this week, but the things koroho that needed to be said. So thank you for listening. We look forward to great news this week. Whatever the outcomes, whatever the new direction will be shared, we will speak with medical professionals who are going to advise us on the way forward, because over the past couple of weeks, we have stayed informed and we have shared with you pertinent information to keep you safe and to keep you moving in the right direction. That's not going to change now. And again, I'm just thankful. You guys, thank you. Take care of yourself. Take care of your mental health. Take care of the small things, because it's the small things that build the big things. And keep watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe now and hit notifications. And let's catch up again next week for another episode of Sheila Lives Out Loud. Until then, in all that you do, live out loud.